I'm Amos, host of Undaunted, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 286 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast, recorded live on Sunday, November 12th, 2017. And yes, we do have the full crew here today. And before I talk anymore, I do know that master storyteller Willie D. Nelson had a story for us. So, Willie, take it away.
Whoa, hold on. You could introduce people first. I'm not trying to jump in on all
this
that
is
now.
important. I mean, I know that Anthony's here.
Yep.
And of course, Naki's here too.
On camera, nonetheless.
Naki's having
As you
breakfast.
can see.
And Naki's having her breakfast, and she likes a nice story to accompany her breakfast. So I just wanted to make sure her breakfast was most enjoyable. So, Willie, take it away.
Oh, God. All right. So Friday night, I found myself in a most unpredictable endeavor.
The back of a Volkswagen?
Somebody wanted me to take me there, but I found myself in a gay club.
Oh, it's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's not a big deal. I mean, I was just chilling out, having cigarettes, talking to people I know, because I'm not really that much of a bar club goer. I don't like talking to people I don't know. It's whatever. There was some black light and body paint. That was pretty awesome. But then every now and then, run into this dude. It was like, go try to get a drink. He turns around from the bar. He's like, oh, run into you again. I'm like, I don't remember you running into me the first time, but all right. Stroke the chin hair a little bit and walk off. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then, and a little bit, then went to go have a cigarette. He was out there as I was coming back in, gave me a slap on the ass, and I'm sure that finger tried to break through my jeans. Yeah, I know. Oh, God, I see what you women go through. All right, I'm sorry. I never do this.
The fact that you picked me up the first time that we met says otherwise.
Did I try and put a finger up your ass?
I feel very dirty now.
I want to take a clip of that. Just put that in the intro.
Because I didn't. It was a hug. A pickup hug. What's the problem with that? Things got a little bit weird when he actually came and tried
Did you
to talk
ask
to me.
first? That's what's wrong with that.
I think I did. I might have mentioned, hey, I'm going to do this. There was plenty of time. There's plenty of time beforehand to say, no, don't do
Willie
this.
did threaten to hug us all on the trip to Chicago. I remember it being in the group text. And hey, according to one of our folks in the chat room, they say, hey, nothing wrong with an oil check, Willie.
Now that reminds me of my Navy days.
Oh dear.
That's like a story too.
That was a game. That was a game that was played on the ship. Oil check.
Oh,
Wow.
I got a new game with my friends now.
Oh. Wow. I'm just gonna stay the fuck out of the Carolinas. No,
I got
thank
to
you.
clean the dipstick next time.
He's now avoiding 2 states just because of Willie.
No, thank you.
Yeah, but things got a little bit weirder when he actually came and talked to me. You got really close. I mean, the music was going, but like right up on my ear, and like your crotch didn't have to be so close to me, buddy. Like he didn't know I was straight at that point in time, but then he asked me, like, I'm straight, buddy. Yeah, I'm straight. He's like, oh, really, man? I'm by myself.
I'm not laughing at you. Sailor Poland says, oh, goody. Now I have something to ask my Navy dad when I talk to him next. Ick.
Willie, I have a question. Once you told that guy that you were straight, did anybody at the bar bug you for the rest of the night?
Well, he was the only one that did bug me like that.
So, but then after that, nobody bothered you.
Well, I mean, no one else knew. I mean, I just told him, like, it was loud, so no one else heard me or anything. Besides my friends I was there with, they knew I'm straight.
And I see, that's why I actually liked going to gay clubs when I was in the Navy. We'd go to other countries. Hardly ever get in fights. Nobody wants to pick a fight with sailors at a gay club. Everybody's just there to fucking be accepted, and so usually they're the least violent bars. We used to love going to them because there was a couple of gay people on my boat, and we'd go in there, and the first guy that talks to you, you tell him you're straight. No one ever bugged me for the rest of the night. As soon as one person knew.
Yeah, I've not, like, I don't know about every bar in Chicago that's a gay bar, but like most gay bars the ones that I had gone to, they were like, as soon as they knew you were straight, and they are usually pretty much already knew by the time you walked in the door, but they were just like, all right.
It was never a problem, except for this one creepy guy. Like, even after I told him, he kept stroking the goatee too. I'm like, I mean, usually I don't have a problem with it. I still didn't have a problem even after that. I know he's trying to be creepy, but I mean, it's just my goatee. I don't really care. I mean, nothing's gonna happen, buddy. I mean, whatever. But he continued to lean in, crotch kind of, right there. I'm like, all right, buddy, whatever. But now let me preface this. This guy was built like a brick shit house. Like, he was pumped up, just a little shorter than me. Oh, he is a good looking guy. And he looked at me and said, "Man, I'm sorry to hear that because you are one sexy motherfucker." I was like, "Oh,
That's pretty
Nice.
complimentary, though.
I know." He's still creepy as fuck, though, but still.
Yeah, I guess there is always creepy people everywhere. So,
And he said, "Hey, man, let me buy you a drink." So I was like, "I don't really drink, man. I can't really do it, whatever, blah, blah, blah." And then at the very end, he said, at last call, he said, "Come over here, man. We're going to do some shots." I'm like, I don't really do tequila. He had 5 tequila shots lined up already. And I don't do tequila anyways. I don't really like tequila.
Tequila everything made me angry, but tequila made me very angry.
Tequila's the
There's
worst.
no difference in it. It's just a mentality thing.
No,
tequila is liquid asshole. I got on more fights on tequila than I did any other alcohol ever invented.
It's your mentality when you start drinking the tequila.
The only good thing about tequila is it allowed me to play beer pong with no teammate and shut people out. Other than that, tequila was bad news in college.
Wait, so you're saying it was a shutout?
I shut them out, yes. It was the best game of beer pong I've ever played in my life.
And you made them all, right?
I made them all, yes.
So there was a naked streak lap around the house, right? Because that is the rule.
That was not the house rules there, sadly.
No,
but
fuck that. That's a general rule. That's a constant general rule.
That's the first
There's
I've
a
heard that
shutout.
rule.
Close off, run around the house.
I'm glad that wasn't the rule.
Was it not that good looking? They weren't like my guy.
They weren't sexy motherfuckers like you, Willie. Is that the best way to put it?
I mean, we all can be like me, buddy. That's pretty much what happened there. On Veterans Day, I went to a gay club. Those dancers knew how to dance.
Oh, you won't see better dances than you'll see at a gay club.
I don't know. One of the people I know that I went kind of with, he was up there and he's not a dancer. He wasn't paid for it though, so
it's not guaranteed they're all going to be good. But there's usually some hellacious dancing at a gay club. Working security at a gay club was one of the funnest jobs I ever had.
People said you look like you're security because I was wearing a black shirt and I usually have my arms crossed, just looking around like, "Hey, what's up?"
It's because Willie's just a fan of security. That's all.
What
are you talking about? Never
group.
What are you talking about? I never use condoms.
No, Willie's a fan of bad decisions. What Willie's a fan of.
So Willie, how's that herpes treating
right.
you?
I was gonna say, well, everybody has herpes. Like that's one of those things where it's like you got to just wash that stigma away. Like everybody has herpes.
How's that genital herpes treating you? Let me
I was
rephrase.
gonna say,
It's what 1 out of 3 humans has it or something. Like the number's ridiculous.
I think they've even gone up to like 50%
If
now.
you've had a cold sore, you have herpes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like everybody has herpes.
Yeah.
Fucking whatever.
Well, hold on a second. Let me defend myself before you continue on with this tirade because you called me out first of all.
I made a
Let
dumb
me
joke.
defend
but
myself. I mean, God damn, you're just gonna leave it hanging and let people think I have genital herpes. Nonetheless,
People-
Jesus Christ.
that was
Willie,
Chris.
Willie, I'm
defending-
about 95% sure that most of our audience knows that we're just busting chops when we throw things out like that. And out of our audience, I think less than 1% of them are going to want to sleep with you anyway. So I think you're
That-
okay.
You're being generous with that 1% too.
I was gonna say, is the majority of our audience like straight males? I feel like that's the majority.
Probably. I don't know.
You mean a straight male can't find me sexy?
I'm not saying
I just
that.
referred to that guy as a good-looking motherfucker, and he called.
Did I ever say that? Did I ever say that? I'm just saying they might not want to sleep with you. I'm just saying. I didn't say that. I'm just saying maybe they don't want to put their penis in your butt.
That's fair. I think that guy did, or he wanted to put his penis in my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm glad I wasn't
what?
drinking coffee.
But
That was at 9:25. Time code that.
11:25. Let me say this though. Like my numbers aren't that high. All right, come on now. And Sex with Me is like a game of Battleship. No one has hit that A5 to sing my Battleship yet. No diseases.
I was just joking, Willie. I did not mean to make you go and defend your sexual history live on the air.
Oh, it happened anyway. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Hey, it's your fault. Don't look at me like you're confused.
I didn't look at you. I just looked off into the distance like, why the fuck did I go down this path? That's really what happened.
I'm just waiting for Chris to be like, man, my life choices put me in this position where I'm helping my friend defend his sexual history online.
I mean, to be honest, I did it for the laughs, and it worked.
Yeah.
Sailor
Poland's
Poland.
got a good answer.
Yeah, Sailor Poland says Sex with Willie is like a game of Battleship. Someone is getting blown to hell.
I don't like blowjobs, though.
You're goddamn right.
I don't really enjoy them. They're whatever.
I was gonna say, like, well,
I think it's because you're doing it wrong, Roach.
what?
What?
Point
Am I
Break.
the Roach in this? I haven't
Yes,
seen
you're
that in so
Roach.
long, I need to watch it. Wait, was that Alex Winter? Was that Roach?
No, Alex Winter wasn't in Point Break.
Oh,
thought
I
he
did
was.
see Point Break. Wait, I saw the
no,
original
yeah,
Point
oh,
Break.
what the fuck am I thinking? I'm thinking Lost Boys for some reason. That came out of nowhere.
That was Alex Winter with the.
Yeah, I know that. Or Freaked. Let's talk about Freaked because I love that movie too. That's the only other movie I've ever seen him in after Bill and Ted.
So I
Well,
don't
he
know
only
how
did like 4.
I don't know how to pull back from this topic now. I really don't.
I mean, we can always go back to the STD talk.
Syphilis.
Syphilis.
You're welcome,
Really got the
Willie.
clap.
Why don't you guys have that on the ready for both of you?
It's a park.
Syphilis.
It's Parks and Rec.
Apparently, I
stopped
missed
watching
that episode.
so long ago. And I didn't really enjoy the last couple ones I even watched.
I fucking love that show.
STD. We're talking about syphilis. All right. I wanted to talk about something serious, but I don't know how we transition from this to something serious. So why don't we?
I mean,
What's
it's
more serious
called-
than an
it's called-
STD? Jesus.
It's called the joke sandwich, where you go with the joke and then you go into something serious and then you go into a joke.
But I'm not sure I have a good way to transition it. You see?
Just fucking do it. It'll be for great.
I don't know what you're doing, so let's go with this. There you go, raspberry. There, raspberry. You got this. I got a perfect joke after you do the series.
Oh,
The
God.
sandwich. It has to do with raspberries.
So the serious thing I actually wanted to talk about is, and we don't want to go too in depth on the topic itself on the show because there's a lot of controversy behind it, and I think we're all going to be on the same page what we agree. Hollywood's got a big issue with sexual offense, sexual predatory acts, and things like that. So the question I have for you guys as I was looking at it, I love the show House of Cards, or at least I did. How do you go about, or let me rephrase, can you separate the artist from the art, and how do you do it? Like, I'm not finished with House of Cards. A part of me really wanted to finish it, and then the Kevin Spacey stuff came out, and I went, yeah, no, I'm not going to finish it. And I can't put myself back in that mindset where I can separate Frank Underwood from Kevin Spacey and watch the show. I don't know how to separate the art from the artist. Does anyone have any idea how to do it? Because I really don't.
Well,
Being
you're not
fully
really
caught up on House of Cards, you don't need him for the show going forward. That's the worst thing.
Yeah, I'm in
And
season
plus-
3 right now, though, so...
Yeah, you're not really
Basically-
supporting him because he's already been paid for the show, and
But
they're
yeah,
not going to
basically-
rehire him again for anything else, probably.
Right, I
At the
understand
end of,
that, but...
at the end of season 4, Robin Wright takes over. So he's basically been written out as the show stands right now. So the fact that they're going to cancel that show is penalizing everybody else that works on the show when all they'd have to do is fire him.
They did officially fire Kevin
Yeah,
Spacey.
he is fired, by the way. They were trying to figure out how to do the show without him at this point in time. And I do like the idea of making it happen with Robin Wright, but my problem is I'm far enough back where his character is still fundamental to things. And this is just one example right here. And
Yeah.
I don't know how to separate the two so that when I turn on an episode, I don't feel uncomfortable and be like, God damn, that motherfucker. And I don't know. I was hoping that other people might have an idea. I don't.
And Sailor Poland is giving in the chat room, he's giving examples of, we have two Franks, the one who punches out reporters in public and the one who sings My Way. We have two Judys, the one who self-destructs in public and the one who sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I think it matters on what happened. Can you separate? So like Kevin Spacey with sexual allegations, it's a different topic because it's something our society, I think most society, not even, I'm going to say most societies dub as a bad thing is, you know, is these allegations and things like that. Hard to separate the act from the actor. There is a lot of that going around right now. It started with Harvey Weinstein and now the floodgates have opened. And I'm glad because I'm
as
honestly,
good as it is disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad that they opened. I'm not glad that it happened to these people. But we all kind of knew, and I think like even those of us who are not like in Hollywood, but everybody kind of knew all of this stuff was happening and nobody did anything about it. So I think, you know, all of these things are going to come out, and hopefully what my hope is what's going to happen is that it's going to clean things up and we don't have to worry about this discussion. Now, as for your predicament, I've never watched House of Cards. I attempted to watch the first episode while I was working out, but I was too focused on working out and I couldn't get it through the episode. So I haven't actually watched it. But from what I understand, he is a very powerful character, right?
Yes.
And he's very... And is there an abuse issue in there? I couldn't remember.
Well, both the main characters are sociopaths that ended up finding each other and becoming a power couple. So they kind of abuse everybody in their orbit.
So I feel like in this instance, because what Kevin Spacey did was such an abusive act of power as Kevin Spacey, not as Frank Underwood, it would be difficult to separate Frank Underwood from Kevin Spacey because he was an abuser in real life as he is in this show, right?
So Sailor Poland brings up a point. He says it's hard to watch House of Cards without wondering if Spacey's acting or just drawing on himself. And I've kind of had the same thought when I was watching the show. I was like, this character is really dark. Is he drawing on some like small dark piece of himself to be able to do it? And it kind of seems like that might have been the case now. It's just, I don't know how to get around it.
I'm just gonna say if you can watch it, go for it. If you can put it past it, if you can't, just read synopsis of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if a lot of people are like, well, I can't support House of Cards now by watching it. Well, it's like, it's already done. Like, in that sense, like, he's already gotten paid. Netflix already got their money for it. Like, it's kind of already done in that sense. Like, you can't, but I mean, what you can't do is not watch future films or future things with Kevin Spacey. And that would correct that.
Yeah, because I got 7 on my shelf in there, and I'm sorry, but I'm still going to rewatch that movie another 30 times because it's fucking fantastic. Whether he's an awful person or not, I still love that movie.
It's one of those things where if you want to show your support with your dollar, you're going to have to do it in the future. You can't do it now.
Yeah.
It's too late now.
Exactly.
Well, and I think Hollywood's kind of taking that out of your hands when it comes to Spacey. Like, they're recasting and reshooting films he's already finished to replace him and stuff like that. He's done. How did?
They replaced him with Christopher Plummer, and apparently it started taking on social media as well. Somebody took that most famous Emmy picture ever. Kevin Spacey was in the very back of it, and somebody already put Christopher Plummer's face over his face in that photo.
Yeah, how Bryan Cranston put it on Kevin Spacey. He goes, amazing actor, terrible person. His career's over.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that they're having, you know, consequences and that sort of thing. But to get back to the root of the question is that it's very hard. I find it very hard to watch something that somebody's been in, even if it is something of the past, if they have these allegations. Jim Carrey is another one that I struggle with now. now that I've learned, like, even now that I've learned more about his abuse history, like he's very abusive, and like the reason his ex-girlfriend killed, or ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or whatever, the reason she killed herself was because of him. I'm just like, oh, well, I have a really hard time finding you funny now.
It's the same problem people have with Johnny Depp right now too. I mean, there's all sorts of things that are coming out like that, and then you go and look at it and you're like, shit.
Yeah. So
I think
I think
the
Go
bigger problem is like people have been saying stuff about this for a lot longer. I've heard a lot of this like a bunch of years ago. Corey Feldman saying like child actors get like abused. It is a thing that happens, and no one really cared until this shit started happening.
Yep. Corey Feldman was talking about Corey Haim and how he got raped by Charlie Sheen multiple times.
I wonder if that's what I remember, like their show, The Two Coreys, when he was still alive. I remember him saying something, but like, you know who did that to me or something like that. I wonder if that's what he was referring to.
It sounds like, from what, because I was reading all these articles about it, because I'm like, we all know that Charlie Sheen is a garbage human. But I mean, like, I didn't know about that. And I'm like, wow, that puts it even further at the top of my garbage human list. Like, so like, I guess it's been implied for years and I just never realized it. But yeah, so like, just people are garbage sometimes.
Thankfully, though, there's still some good people out there, because you don't hear anything about Tom Hanks, and I got scared because I saw a link in Twitter.
Did you see that?
It's the same meme that everyone else has seen. Is
That was so good.
yet another woman accuses Tom Hanks of being a good guy, and I was like, oh, thank God, that's all it is, because I got really scared.
They had it if you had a preview of the article. All it said was another woman accuses, and it was a photo of Tom Hanks. And so you had to click on it to see the part where it says, is a good guy.
Yeah. So
The greatest clickbait article of the year.
Here's one that I saw on the South Park Reddit that I actually shared with some of my friends yesterday, and when you think about it, you're like, holy shit! When you see this one, is that the South Park guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Remember, they were stalked by Scientology investigators for months to dig up dirt and ruin their reputations with all the Scientology episodes. Nothing found. Who would have thought that the South Park guys, go back like 10, 15 years ago when South Park came out, who would have thought they'd be some of the good guys?
I honestly, I'm not surprised by that.
Art.
Yeah, I guess
I was
so.
gonna say
their art.
like, and this isn't for all boxers and stuff like that, but when I was still in Muay Thai and stuff like that, like we would talk constantly about how the guys that I would fight with were always the nicest guys, because we literally would beat the shit out of each other for a sport, and we were fine. Like, we didn't have that pent up rage issue or anything.
There's a term for it. Controlled aggressive expression.
Right.
It's being able to get that aggression out of you in a controlled way where nobody actually gets hurt, and use that as basically a vent valve. Yeah, I miss sparring. I miss sparring so much, because it's a way to get your adrenaline up, get your body going at like full flight or fight speed, and actually fight, and then be able to calm down and nobody really got hurt.
Right. Like, it gets that anger out, you know, that, because everybody has pent up anger, whether or not they, you know, let it out or whatever. And everybody does in some form or another. My form, while I was uninjured and everything like that, was through Muay Thai. Now that I don't have Muay Thai anymore, I have to find other ways, which has been like knitting and writing and drawing and that sort of thing. But it's, you know, everybody has something in them that needs to get out. Anger wise or whatever. Some people are terrible and go on to do terrible things, and that's why we have things like where people are like, you know, maybe try this instead. Try a deep breathing exercise rather than stabbing this guy. So I mean, you know, there's
extreme.
We live in an extreme world.
We live very extreme. 45. What?
I seriously don't know.
Who?
Where?
Okay, so there's been a lot of talk in the chat room that we haven't gotten to, and I kind of want to get back to it. And Chris, you could tell me if I'm talking too much.
No, go for
it. So I'm scrolling up. Okay. So Clearance VG Rec, I can't bring myself to watch that 9 Lives movie. I wanted to see how bad it is. That's the one where Kevin Spacey gets turned into a cat.
You want
Dressman
to see that?
says he likes bad things.
No,
We're gonna
that's
leave
on
the
another
video
level of bad thing. That's not bad thing. Like, they made this shit?
Dressman says, I think we have to separate the artist from the art. I had a hard time with Cosby, Woody Allen, and now with Louis. For those of you who don't know, Louis C.K. has also been accused. And that one...
Not even accused, admitted and apologized.
Admitted.
His
He
apology was
admitted and
bullshit.
gave a really weak apology.
His
I'm
apology
just
was
saying,
shit.
he flat out, he said all the stuff they're saying, I did, it's true, and then whether or not you like his apology, but he did admit everything. So he's not...
he did admit
He's not calling
everything.
anybody a liar. Yeah.
There's no cover up with Louis C.K.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm just saying he did admit and fucking he said all of it, that everything he's been accused of happened.
Sailor Poland says what Spacey did wasn't just bad; it was pure evil. This isn't drunk driving. This is abusing power for personal pleasure and wrecking anyone who resisted or wouldn't help. It's hard to watch House of Cards without wondering if Spacey's acting or drawing upon himself, which we talked about a little bit. I can't pronounce your handle. I'm sorry. I'm just going to call you Bola123. Well, Richard Wagner made some most beautiful music known to man, but it was was a horrible anti-Semite. So you can hate the man and love the art, but having to look and listen to a person is an a-hole, can you hold up that illusion that acting is? And that's what we were talking about, is like, it's really hard to Low Life Otaku does give a point that give it 2 weeks and people will move on to the next big controversy and ignore the last one and nothing will change. That's what people do, and it still sucks. You're not wrong. We do have that problem. We have a clickbait society. We have a society with an ADHD problem. So yeah, that is a thing. Sailor Poland says, oh yeah, everybody has to make that decision for themselves. I can't do it. But that doesn't mean if someone else can separate the artist from the art, I'm going to hold it against them. There is a whole other angle about House of Cards to consider, though. Supposedly 6 people from House of Cards said he harassed them. And don't forget about Roy Price, the former head of Amazon Studios, has been accused. So there we go. We got that too.
We had a good chat room today. There was a lot of good comments going back and forth.
Yeah.
And of the right kind. It wasn't people like, oh, it's bullshit, blah, 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 trying to deny it. So kudos to you guys. You're some of the best on the internet.
Dressman says, I think the best of us, in parentheses, flawed, broken, and sometimes monstrous humans, can be our works and art. I honestly have to remember that the negatives have to be acknowledged. You can appreciate the work with the caveat that you can do great work, but behavior is not okay. I mean, Wagner was a racist. Oscar Wilde was a pederast. Cosby is... Thank you. Cosby is a rapist, and so is Woody Allen, is abusive asshole. Loves all of those guys' work, but man, I cannot square away some of the stuff they did. Some studios show that porn consumers are more respectable to women that to women than men that deny themselves. They have a release and have context. So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those things where we get a little bit more serious on the show, but that's because there's so much of this coming out. There's been a lot with DC this week too, with this coming out, and we wanted to throw it out there, I guess, in a way. Like, are you comfortable with us talking about it? If not, we can avoid this issue. Additionally, do we want us to continue to talk about it? Because
I think we're coming at it from the right way. I think we're trying to have an honest conversation about it, an honest conversation to learn and to share opinions versus a lot of what you see on the internet, which is, oh, that's bullshit. I don't believe any of it, and deny and argue and fight. Whereas let's try and learn and understand and try and share what we've figured out with other people. I don't know. It sounds real frou-frou the way I put it. I'm not putting strong words behind it, but.
Well, and we also have the other one that's going to affect the geek world, Kreisberg.
Yeah, we didn't touch on that one either. One of the executive producers over on Flash, Arrow, and Legends has gotten accused of 15 different accounts, something like that.
19 from the Advocate. 19 men and women alleged harassment.
And then Brett Ratner, who did the X-Men movies as an executive producer and produced Wonder Woman. There's all sorts.
Anza, which is the worst kept secret.
Yeah. Apparently, that's one everybody knew, and he still rose in the ranks at DC, which makes it even worse.
And it wasn't like it was not told. There's been stories about him on the internet for a while now, because I remember reading some of them and thinking, if he's
there was
doing
a
all this
about him about 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, and about 2 years ago, I remember reading going, why is nothing being done to discipline this guy?
Because it was brushed under the rug. And this is a very common thing that happens. And like I said, because of the Weinstein gate and the floodgates opening, and that, like, it's gotten to a point where, you can't avoid it anymore. The internet is here, and it's going to continue to live out all of us, and it's going to be there forever. So there's no way to cover it.
It's the permanent record they used to threaten you with at school. The internet
Basically,
is your permanent record.
Well, ain't that the truth?
Yep.
And so it's definitely, let us know via comments or call. You can call us or whatever. Let us know if you want us to continue covering this stuff, because it's just going to keep happening, especially right now. And we've kind of touched on them here and there. It's just, we don't know if it's something that your wacky weekend morning show should be covering, I guess.
I think if we can do it so that it's not all about the topic, because there is an expectation. We bill ourselves a dick and fart joke wacky weekend morning show. We're here to have fun. I think we still need to try and have that fun.
Is it time for me to bring up that joke? The sandwich it?
Oh, hang on. There's still absolutely so there was still one more thing that I wanted to throw it out there, and then you could bring in the dick joke, Willie, or whatever joke you had.
I automatically think it's the dick joke. Fine, go ahead.
The dick joke.
It's not a dick joke.
Oh wow, I'm proud of you, Willie.
Now I'm disappointed.
Fuck your assholes.
And this is actually something that I was discussing yesterday. I've discussed a little bit today, but also remember that if you are finding yourself offended by these articles and things like that, please remember that it's not about you. This is super serious Naki talking. Like, it's not about you. It's not this literally, like, we are spectators in this, but if somebody is stating that they were hurt by somebody else, it's about the person who was hurt, not about you. So just keep that in mind, especially if you find yourself siding with the one being accused. I don't think any of our chat room or anything like that is anything we have to worry about. But this also goes for just minor offenses and things like that. Just remember that it's not about you. Not everything's about you. It's not about you.
I'm going to second that, except for I'm saying people should be offended that it's happening.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think Naki's talking more about the fact when you read the article someone gets offended, it's that interior monologue. It's like, oh, but I like that actor because they did this. That's a normal thought to have, but you got to keep working it through.
Yeah. Just take a step back and oh, but this person said that they did some really gross things, so it's like,
I've never been a fan of Brett Ratner, but I like X3, and I've always loved Ellen Page, and reading that Facebook post was harsh. Like, it was hard to read. Like, it's really so awful, the shit that woman's gone through. It's like, but yeah, it's like, oh, I mean, it was definitely worth reading because, goddamn, I mean, it was powerful stuff.
Right, and we made a point of not trying to talk about any of the political stuff that's going on, because this is also in the political sphere, and we're not going to touch on that piece in here.
Are we going to pass by that Bachman said he liked X3?
Oh, here comes the joke. Here comes the joke.
My favorite X-Men is Multiple Man, motherfucker. And in X3, he kicked ass.
Fine, I'll let you have it.
Bola123. Again, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Don't you guys feel that we finally just waking up to this problem? You've heard these stories 70s, 80s, 90s too, but sort of didn't care, brushed it under the rug. I think it was definitely brushed under the rug. I don't think that there wasn't a not care situation. I think it was brushed under the rug, but now we have the internet. So I think that changed that. I think all of that, I think the internet is a powerful tool, and it's definitely changed how that's worked.
This is one of the better it's one of the better use cases of the internet, is people are able to share their story and it's harder to sweep it under the internet if you put it out there publicly on Facebook or on Twitter or in a
Yeah.
blog post, even if it's an anonymous blog post, and then people start digging into it and start saying, oh, this might actually be true. And maybe that is a sad thing that people didn't believe it in the past, but it was a lot easier to sweep it under the rug, I think.
Yeah, because before it was, lots of backstage whispers in Hollywood where, hey, if you shut up, you're going to keep working this job and you're going to keep making all this money and you're going to keep, getting more projects. But if you say anything, your career's over.
Yeah. And it's not the case anymore. People can't just lose, people can't lose it. Well, they can lose their job for outing somebody, but they're going to get 400,000 jobs in response. So.
And yet Mel Gibson still had a movie opening in the box office this weekend, and the internet hated him a couple years ago.
It still does.
Did he? I didn't know that he still
he
does
had
things.
Daddy's Home
He's
2.
in Daddy's Home too.
And then he did Hacksaw Ridge. He directed that one, which was nominated for an Academy Award. And I have a hard time.
Yeah, but it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. It's a fantastic movie.
See, I have him so blocked out of my mind that I didn't realize that he was still doing things.
Yeah.
And Hacksaw Ridge wasn't even on my radar. I don't do war movies well. I don't handle them well. So I just don't, it's not on my list of things that I want to see. So.
Yeah. So, Willie, we need that joke to make the sandwich here.
Make the sandwich, Willie.
Bachman, can you do that raspberry for me one more time?
Maybe.
You guys ever blew a raspberry in your girlfriend's vagina? It is hilarious. You laugh, she gets angry. You laugh even harder.
You could kill her. Did you know that? You could kill her.
A dick goes up there. A little air's not gonna kill her.
No,
Death
it
by
will.
raspberry?
You
How's
can
that
die.
possible?
You could die if you get blood or air into the bloodstream. You can kill somebody. Don't kill your girlfriend.
All right, hold on a second. First of all, I ain't got a girlfriend. Second of all, I don't mean literally into the vaginal cavern. Well, that's probably the wrong word to say. You know what I'm saying.
Vaginal cavity. Vaginal cavity.
Yeah, but he stopped at
That's what I
cavern.
meant.
I love that he
That's
stopped
what I
at
meant.
cavern.
It's more over the clit area. How's that? Because that's where you get the more reverberation of the raspberry. I mean, I'm not trying to get a queef back in my face. Perfect.
Shit.
Congratulations to Draftsman's friend who is about to finish a marathon. I could not do that. Good job. 26 miles is a lot of fucking miles. It sucks.
That person-
Congratulations.
You see, it wasn't a dick joke, but it was just as good.
Yeah. I'm just going to hit the fucking button.
You already did.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Hey guys, we're like 40 minutes into the show, so let's do that thing we normally open the show with, which is our bit called News of the Week, where we run down what we think is the most interesting nerdy news of the last week. Now, we're a little pressed for time, so we might not go in depth as much as we normally do, but hey, Willie, what do you got for us first?
Oh, geez, you throw me in on first. All right, I guess I'll
go
go
first if you want.
No, I mean, if you want me to go from laughing mode to being like, man, fuck people mode, I will do it. So I probably should have talked about all the game trailers that came out with the Paris Games. What's that Expo? Is that what it's called? Paris Games Week. I always forget the damn title of that convention.
Yeah, it's Paris Games Week.
Yeah. All the trailers and stuff that came out, all it looks good. Good stuff coming out, especially for PlayStation. But there was a bit of a controversy over one of them, and that'd be The Last of Us Part 2. The trailer for that, let's just say, is a bit brutal.
Yes. We all watched it prior to the show because Willie told us to. A bit brutal is generous at times.
Let me preface this by saying Neil Druckmann, the guy behind the game, has come and said, when people will complain about it, saying, this is an adult game for adults. So he's pretty much saying, get over it. Get over yourselves. It's not about you. It's about his creation and what he wants to do with it.
Wait, that's what the controversy was?
No. That's just the preface. like saying like he's behind this stuff. He's not backing down, which I love. Oh yeah, a lot of people are upset that in the trailer, it's women getting brutally assaulted, and what they fail to see is
define the assault here, so people aren't going down the wrong path. What kind of things are happening in that trailer?
In the trailer, you see a woman first getting dragged over, thrown on the ground, and then she has a noose put around her neck and then pulled up. They put a bucket under her so she can stand on it just a little bit to not choke. And then I guess the leader of whatever this organization is doing, or little group, is coming over. She's coming over and talking to her or saying something. There's no context. These are all characters you have never seen before.
So it's predominant. It's violence. It's kind of like post-apocalyptic attack, not anything of a sexual nature. To clarify for people listening.
Oh yeah.
I just wanted to clarify because based off of what we were talking about before, people might jump to a conclusion. I want to make sure.
Thank you, Chris, for that. I see that. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Yeah, she has a knife into her belly. Then all of a sudden, someone calls over. She looks over, and two guys are dragging another woman out. And then still no context, saying, where's the other apostate? I think she says. I'm not 100%. Maybe apostle. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Apostate. To this woman. And then the woman being dragged just spits in her face, and she says, clip her wings. That's when they hold her down and take a hammer and just start hammering in on the forearm area. And it looks fucking brutal.
It does. I think you've painted the picture appropriately now.
There's more to all that. My problem is with this Polygon article. Jeez, I had to click on this article and give them a view. I hate myself for that. I hope you understand this. Yeah, they say that the violence in it is particularly upsetting as it features the assault of women. First of all, I mean, if you look at this games, the games don't care if you're man, woman, or what race you are. It's just you're a person in this world living. They're not doing it because they are women. That's the biggest thing that you should need to look at. Am I right?
Well, it's a woman doing the brutalizing too.
Well, technically it's the guy hitting her with the hammer, but she's the one.
Two guys do the hammer part.
The guys do the hammer part, but the woman's the one who commanded it. So
yeah. And it's not. They're not doing it because she's a woman, though. That is the big part.
I think. So, and again, we're gonna go with this. Not about you. It's not about how you feel. This woman feels that this is a woman brutalizing thing. Now, I didn't get the same feeling. I didn't play Last of Us. I didn't play the first one.
Oh, you should. It's such a good game.
And I have a PS4. I could do this. But
you would love it.
I never got the feeling that this is a selling us because women are being brutalized. I understand where she's coming from because it is used a lot. But because there was a woman who was giving the command, it didn't give me that same feeling of squeakiness that I get when you see like the brutalization of women on like she brings up the billboard that Fox used for X-Men Apocalypse. I didn't get that squeaky feeling. I got the squeaky feeling from that billboard. I didn't get it from this trailer because it is a woman doing the commanding of the brutalization. So it's a little different thing.
I didn't actually get it from that billboard myself because I know the characters. I know like that's something Apocalypse would do. It doesn't matter who he's choking, but that just showed me that Mystique must have a big role in the movie.
And that's also another way of looking at it. There is a problem, and it's not something that's ever been covered up either. Is that like women are held to a different standard of being weak and butterflies, and you can't touch them, and you can see them naked all you want, but you can't do that with a man because a man naked is a totally different thing. And but you can't but brutalizing a man, they're supposed to be brutalized because they're a man, so there's like this whole like two-sided thing that you kind of got to work with. But when it's a man brutalizing a woman, it's a little bit different than if it's a woman brutalizing a woman. Just a different feeling.
I mean, that's also what I was thinking of. Like, what if this was just guys getting, this brutalization too? Like, what if it was guys? Then this article wouldn't exist, and no one cares. Like, well, shouldn't the problem be against people in general? Like, I understand what you're saying, Naki, but you can't be thinking that if you want equal you got to look past that.
So I mentioned it in the pre-show. The violence itself, you could argue, is uncomfortable. But have you watched an episode of The Walking Dead, especially the recent ones? Like, not this season
have you
premiere,
read or
but,
seen any dystopian fiction?
but last season premiere, I would argue what Negan did with Lucille was far more violent than what you get in this trailer, and that was on cable television, and millions of people tuned in and watched it. And yes, millions of people are also discomforted by the level of violence they saw on TV. I think we even talked about it on this show.
Yeah, we did. And I think, and Lola Futaka brings up a point where when it's a goddamn story, we're these people never taught the difference between fantasy and reality. And I think for me, and I was having this conversation with boyfriend earlier this week, I struggle with things where I have to, in video games, killing humans. So like Metal Gear Solid, Call of Duty, those kinds of games, I can't play those games because mentally I feel like it messes with my head because I'm killing a human. But like games like Borderlands,
then.
yeah, no, I can't. No, I am already fully aware I'm not going to be. Games like Borderlands, where it's so cartoonish, it doesn't phase me. But like I think with Last of Us, with this situation, our technology has gotten graphics to a point where we're very realistic in our art, and I could see it where people would have would struggle with that.
And also, I also don't see where this article is coming from, because if you played The Last of Us, you know it's filled with strong female characters and of all races too. Strong characters all around. So I don't see, it's like they didn't even care anything about what came before. They just saw this one little clip, said, nope, this is what it's about.
The article is probably just a response to the trailer, which sadly, that's the level of journalism we're at today.
And they even bring up the killing joke, just pulling up straight up Barbara Gordon in that. Like, didn't the Joker also fuck up Jason Todd a whole lot as well?
Yeah, that crowbar did a little more damage than that one bullet.
I don't even know why they're bringing that up, because I mean the Joker just does what the fuck he does to anybody. It doesn't fucking matter. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think people were more offended that they retconned that with Barbara Gordon with the New 52.
Oh well, Jason Todd's alive as well, so
yeah. So I think
everything in comics gets undone.
Yeah, it soap operas is comic books is its own soap opera. So I mean, it's just kind of like
it's all the second act.
And before I get finished with this, I want to undermine this fucking author too for fully. She does say in it that these unnamed women characters. Well, first of all, they do give one of the characters a name, Yara. She does say that. And then the author, even later on in the article, she even calls her out, the character, by the name Yara. So she's just fucking stupid.
She was literally writing the article as she was watching the trailer.
Yeah, she might have been.
No time to think, just react.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Sailor Poland has posed a question to me in the chat room. Naki, the projects I want your reaction to are Sucker Punch and Lollipop Chainsaw. If you think about it, they can either be challenging tropes or wallowing in them. And is there enough support there's enough support on either side of the argument? What do you think? I dislike both of those things. Sucker Punch, I really enjoy the soundtrack to Sucker Punch. I will give that. The soundtrack to Sucker Punch is fucking phenomenal. But that's it. Like, I fucking hate that movie.
That's not it. The visuals are stunning.
The visuals are also stunning.
Okay. The story's garbage.
Story is garbage.
The visuals are stunning.
the story is absolute garbage. The soundtrack's amazing. The visuals are awesome, but the story is such garbage. I hate that movie so much. And I understand where people are like, man, it is such a strong woman movie. It's not. And here's why. These women are strong because they were abused. I hate that. You have to understand how much I hate that as a story mover. Women can just be strong. I'm just going to throw that out there. We don't need to be abused. We don't need to be, roughed up to be no longer this delicate flower. We are born strong things. And that pisses me off. I actually only played about 2 hours of Lollipop Chainsaw, and I had to put it down because I was just so frustrated with it. Just because it's not a good game to me. So I don't know the story of Lollipop Chainsaw. I just remember not enjoying that game and not having fun playing it, so I can't really help you on that one. And the other thing with Sucker Punch, but both things, people are like, well, women look really good in this. Like, they look really good because they're strong and they're in these stereotypes, and this makes a woman strong. And I'm like, no, they were still designed by men to be of these fetish types, and so that's where I don't have that strong woman feeling. I'm just like, no, they were still designed by men to be fetished. I'm not okay with that. So that's my take on it. I know some people are going to fight me on it, and that's fine.
Well, I think in Lollipop Chainsaw, that was kind of the point of that game, wasn't it? That they were over fetishizing the characters.
I guess. Like I said, I didn't enjoy the game, so I didn't play.
I just remember the advertising for it, and I know a lot of cosplayers dress up as that character because it's such a overtly sexual character. Like, that's the joke, is that she's running around with a chainsaw covered in blood, but she's wearing the world's smallest cheerleader outfit.
Didn't she also have her boyfriend's head hanging from her hip?
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Jessica Negri was the voice, the model, and all of that for Lollipop Chainsaw. So, it's based off of a cosplayer. So
I think the difference is, like, Zack Snyder was, supposedly trying to make a good movie with Sucker Punch, where Jessica Negri and them making that game, I think they were all in on the joke, and I don't think Zack Snyder is.
Yeah, Zack Snyder and I do not get along. So there's that.
Oh, you had to talk with him?
No, I'm okay. In our retrospective worlds, of very separate worlds.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I probably said the word wrong. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Whatever. Zack Snyder and I are not friends. we do not have the same view of women, and there's that.
I mean, you guys couldn't just have a normal conversation about something else and be like, oh,
I would totally. I think the problem that he has with women would overhang in my head too much.
You don't have to explain. I'm just making a joke.
I'm just saying, like, I think that would be a problem. But yeah, and if you enjoy it and you find power in it, good for you. I don't, but that's for you. I mean, it's not. Again, this is all stuff that's not about me.
Well, Naki, let's go about you. You need to play The Last of Us. And you'll see some strong female characters. Ellie.
It's a human. I mean, I know that it's about demons and stuff like that. So no. I probably
not at all.
No? Oh,
not demons.
Some sort of isn't there monsters of some sort in it?
Semis, not really zombies because they're not really dead. It's all about like the cordyceps fungus that gets in your brain, but it only affects like certain insects. That's a whole thing, but it's like a strain that affects humans. It's a real thing.
So it's like the Crossed comic, where the people kind of go nuts and become murderous and violent, but they're still more human than zombie.
Crossed was mostly just sex. Like, that's all I remember from that series.
But it was supposed to be like a version of a disease that was spreading across people that were making them insane.
Kind of. It's like the fungus, the spores get in your brain and makes you attack other people to spread the fungus spores out. That's what mostly it is. So they're kind of zombies, but they're not really.
Like, can they still talk and stuff?
No. They're just they're kind of brainless because the spores are overtaken.
So they're a little more automatons. Because, yeah, Crossed is creepy because people still have like their thought process along with being insane and wanting to be violent and abusive to everybody they run into. Yeah, that's a weird comic book series.
I remember when I was working at the comic book shop that somebody was like, "Oh, is this one good for my kid?" And I was like, "No,
yeah, that's some shit a lot of adults shouldn't read. Like it's some."
I was uncomfortable reading that one. Like, no,
violent comics. Yeah,
that's my fetish.
Yeah, Willie would dig on some Crossed.
It says Crossed, Crossed. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, while Willie goes to look that up and download them on comics, I'll just move on to the next story. And this one's a pretty quick one. Did you guys hear the bigger Star Wars news that came out this week that caused me to go, wait, this is a little soon?
Wait, which two?
All right,
I heard two Star Wars.
We'll go with this one then. So it was announced that director Rian Johnson is going to take the next trilogy of films and be the leader on them, not involving the Skywalker family, supposedly. But remember, we haven't even gotten his episode 8 into theaters yet, nor has episode 9 even finished, and we're already talking about the next trilogy. So while I'm excited because I think Rian Johnson's a very talented filmmaker, I'm really excited for episode 8. I think it's going to kick ass by all appearances. I'm kind of going, this might be a little soon.
Yeah, little soon.
It does.
I say more Star Wars.
Well, it does get
Get
people
your
to stop
shit done
talking.
already.
It does get people to stop talking about the fact that Solo has a giant budget and people are concerned it's going to suck. So it worked in that regard.
It does. It does sweep one thing away. But it's still just like it's getting to be overwhelming. I think, and this is, I still haven't seen Thor. I'm not.
Boo.
I know. I want to, but it's actually gotten to a point where it's
You deserve
so
a raspberry.
overwhelming how much stuff there is to go see.
Well,
Yeah, but that's
And
the
if
thing. You don't have to see all of it.
I don't know.
No one's making you.
No one's making you, but you feel obligated to because it's Star Wars. It's something you grew up with. It's Marvel Comics. It's something you grew up with. You have this like feeling of obligation in the back of your head to go see these things. And plus, I do a podcast where people talk about it all the time.
Naki, does that mean you feel obligated to go see Zack Snyder / Joss Whedon's Justice League?
No. No, I don't feel that at all.
Who's going opening day next week?
No.
Well, I do have the day off because I was going to watch Punisher, but I think I might also catch that at the same.
I'm only
I'm not-
going because somebody bought my ticket.
I have a movie pass. I'll go that weekend.
I'm curious. I want to see it. I mean,
Oh.
if you want to see something, go see it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, I do have to ask, how is that movie pass thing? My brother has it and he loves it.
It's pretty slick. If you go and see more than one movie a month, it basically pays for itself. Because around here, if I go see a movie, it's not a matinee. It's like $12. So if I go see more than one movie, it's already paid for itself for $10 a month.
Our matinees are $12, so
Yeah. So if you see two movies a month, then it's pretty much worth picking up because you're basically paying for one ticket out of those two. If now my Christmas vacation, I know that I'm not going to be doing much besides watching dumb movies at the house, and there's a bunch of dumb movies going to the theater. I'm like, you know what? I'd go watch that because I only have to pay for it once. There's stuff I'm like, I wouldn't pay for a ticket for this, but I'll movie pass it.
that's fair. Sorry.
I've
You better
liked
be.
it. But that's just me on that one. I forgot the point I was going to make on Star Wars. I got distracted.
It's
I
a
see
Star
that.
Wars thing.
Yeah.
I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s. So I remember when we didn't have all of these Marvel movies and Star Wars properties. And I say more. Bring me more. If Rian Johnson did so well that we did not hear a single bad thing coming out of the entire production time for episode 9 or 8, then, I mean, he must have done a damn good job. For Kathleen Kennedy to then hand him a trilogy while she's over firing the guys that did Solo. Like, he must, have really impressed them. I say hell with it. Let's see what he does with 3 movies all on his own and with an original story. Like, that's fantastic.
One thing to keep in mind is the Disney formula right now, which is if you look at what they've been putting out a lot less of the animated stuff. They put a few out, but they've been putting out a lot less of the riskier, like the family Disney movies and stuff like that, the live action ones. They've been sticking to the big brands, the Star Wars, the Marvel, the Pixar, and that's mostly what's been coming out. And there was an article I was reading, and I cannot find it. I'll try and find it again. It was this morning when I was sitting on the couch reading some stuff for show prep, that Disney has the largest box office take this year, which probably doesn't surprise anyone, but has also put out the least number of movies compared to their competition. So they're hitting it with these movies right here. They're not having to take those chances because they know if I put a Thor out, it's going to make $64 million in week 2, which is ridiculous when you consider the fact it's a Thor movie. Or if I put out the new Star Wars movie, I can guarantee it's probably going to make close to $1 billion when it's all said and done. They don't have to take the risks, so they're just putting out the big tentpole films. And I'm not sure that that's a good or a bad thing for us long term, but it's an interesting study to see that they can put out the smallest number of movies compared to their competition and dwarf them in the money they make. Because remember, up until Thor, like the biggest budget moneymaker had been this summer and spring. Just something to consider. It was interesting to me.
I'm feeling the burn, but I think it's also just because it's also so costly to go to the movies.
Yeah, and Sailor Poland puts it right. He goes, you have $200 million. Do you make 5 movies that may or may not play to audiences, or one big movie with merchandising money? That's the Disney solution.
Wow, yeah, I wanted to check the numbers to see what Box Office Mojo has for by parent company. Time Warner's #1 with 19% of the market share, with 29 movies tracked. NBC Universal is #2 with 17.5% of the market share, with 24 movies tracked. Disney's at third, 17% market share, only 10 films. So half as many movies and almost the same amount of the market.
Yeah,
that's
so
insane.
If you break
And
it up
Star
by
Wars
profit
isn't even
per
out.
movie, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and there's another Star Wars film coming out in this year.
And
That's
Thor isn't
insane.
done yet.
Oh yeah, and Thor's not even close to done.
Thor's
it's only in week
trending
2.
over predictions for this week. Like, originally what I had read, Thor was supposed to hit like 59, 60 mil, and they revised that to 60 to 64 mil this weekend.
Oh geez, for
Thank
its second
you,
weekend.
Fantasy Movie
Yeah,
League.
for week 2. That's the ridiculous thing. And the comic fanboy Chris in me is like, oh, that's awesome. The Chris who likes to go and see strange movies kind of goes, oh man, that's kind of a bummer because you're not seeing studios take these chances on the weird movies. But at the same time, they don't have to because people put them online now. You can go see that strange stuff on Netflix or Hulu or YouTube or Vimeo, wherever people decide to go and put those indie flicks now. So maybe it's just that the market's evolving. I don't know.
I think I'm starting to lean away from like your typical nerdy fare these days. I'm coming to realize, and I think it's just because there is so much pressure to watch them. So it's been interesting trying to find things that aren't necessarily pushed in your face quite as much. So like, as opposed to doing the Disney train, like I've been watching BoJack Horseman. And you know, that's a show that people talk about, but it's not nearly as prevalent in our lives as like Star Wars and Marvel. So I mean, it's just one of those things where I still want to be a part of this group of things that I've enjoyed since I was very small. Because like even in Indonesia, we had things like Star Wars and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously, because that's what I learned English from. And so I still want these things in my life, but it's so battered into my life right now where I'm just like, back off just a little bit.
So I get where you're coming from in that regard. Is there some of them that come out and I'm like, I don't care as much about that. Like, this is not me having my DC Comics hatred. Justice League I'm curious about, but it's not like I have to go and see that because it's a comic book movie. It's more of, I'm curious where they went with it, and I hope it's good. So if I don't see it immediately, I'm okay with it. And there's other movies I see ads for. I'm like, yeah, I don't have to go. But for me, the Marvel and Star Wars movies are the ones that I was a kid I was never expected to see on the big screen either again or in the first place. So I think part of it's the spectacle of it appeals to me still.
Yeah, I tend to enjoy going to go see my my foreign films in the movies because that's what we went the past 2 times I went to the movies. It was The Foreigner with Jackie Chan. And before that, it was Chasing the Dragon with Donnie Yen and Andy Lau, which, you know, both Hong Kong cinema, both something that, you know, I grew up with, but not nearly as pushed into my face as Star Wars and Marvel.
True. And part of that's the marketing that goes into those things, too. I mean, who am I to say anything? Look at my backdrop. It's all Star Wars and Marvel for the most part. So what do I know?
Mine are books.
The books are upstairs. Oh, and I got Power Rangers back here, too, also. So I got that going for me.
I might actually watch that movie today while I'm cleaning.
The Power Rangers movie?
I got books and pops.
I really enjoyed the Power Rangers movie, Naki. I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about it.
Really? You really enjoyed it?
It's just fun. It's not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a fun movie.
I didn't hate it or anything. I thought it was, it's a movie I saw. Yay.
It's fun.
More than
That's
just
how I
a
look at
movie
it.
I saw.
It doesn't have to be like the greatest movie ever to have fun. It reminded me of the damn show, so I enjoyed it.
And it had Hela from Thor in it. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Rita. They look kind of very similar.
Did you unrelated to that? Did you see Eugene from the Try Guys dress up as Rita Repulsa? Because holy fucking shit, he looked amazing.
No, I did.
Because it was original Rita Repulsa.
Not.
Hang on, I will bring this up because I was just fucking floored.
So while Naki's looking that up, we are running over on time. So let's move on to the next story real quick. So Bachman, what do you got for us?
Oh, that's not good because this is going to take half an hour. This guy's done a lot of shit.
just to read his book listings.
No shit. Yeah, I'll try to get through it as quick as I can. For anybody who doesn't know, one of the biggest influences at Marvel Industries for the past 15 years has just signed a DC exclusive deal. So DC put out a tweet, said, "We are so excited to start working with Brian MIchael Bendis. We are beyond thrilled to welcome Brian MIchael Bendis exclusively to the DC family with a multi-year, multifaceted deal." So he's not just going to be writing comics. For those that may not be aware, Brian MIchael Bendis has been with Marvel since the start of the Ultimate Universe. And a lot of people have talked about his runs on Daredevil and Avengers and a lot of other books, as well as creating Jessica Jones for the Alias comics. What a lot of people don't remember is that he helped create the Ultimate Universe. When it started, he wrote the first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, which eventually led to the death of Peter Parker and replacement by the new Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales, who Bendis also created. When people are talking about, this guy it's so cool to see him on Justice League or Teen Titans or one of the other books. The amazing thing is going to be see what characters he actually creates at DC. Bendis creates characters that hang around for a long damn time and have, huge influences on the environments that they continue to live in. So if they let him go nuts making characters, that's what I'm really excited about. But yeah, this is the guy. He holds what was at the time, Bendis wrote and Mark Bagley drew the first 111 consecutive issues of Ultimate Spider-Man. At the time, it was the longest run in comics, I believe, comics history, and I think it still holds up as the longest run in Marvel comics history. They were the first Marvel duo to pass Jack and Stan, who did 101 issues of Fantastic Four together. So that's a record that had held for almost 40 years until Bendis and Bagley broke it with Ultimate Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, he's written so many books at Marvel, it's not even possible to list them all. But yeah, some of his runs on, like, if they go forward with the Marvel films, we're going to see his influence with possible, like, a Avengers Disassembled, which was one of the coolest stories he ever wrote, with the Scarlet Witch destroying the team from within. And yeah, he's been on they have like the Marvel Council basically for the writers' outings and for the movie universe. He's been a part of that since they started the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. Every Spider-Man film, all the Marvel films, they've all had Bendis there as a possible influence and writer. So his influence has been felt for a long time at Marvel, and now he has the entire other giant playpen of characters to mess with, and I'm super excited to see what the hell he's going to do.
Didn't Jonathan Hickman also go to DC too, or did I see that wrong on Twitter?
I don't know, because apparently there's been like 3 of Bendis's artists that he usually works with are coming over with him, and there's been rumors of DC announcing like 5 to 10 more exclusive deals over the next month. So they might be snagging up a whole lot of contracts very recently.
It'd be interesting. I mean, I don't read much of the big publishers anymore, but I'm curious to see what Bendis will be writing over in DC. And I tend to agree with what Sailor Poland in the chat room said in the chat room, rather. If they put him on Batman, that could be fun. That could be really good.
Prepare for the most dialogue-filled Batman ever.
Yeah, possibly.
Kevin Smith used to write Batman. We're okay. And
he created and wrote Powers. I mean, there's some heavy dialogue issues in that book.
That's true.
Yeah, and also Bendis did publicly tweet, because apparently there's lots of rumors going around about what book he's writing, and he publicly tweeted that anything you're reading about the book I'm on is wrong because it hasn't been assigned yet. I don't know what I'm going to be working on yet. So I'm not sure if it's DC hasn't made a decision or he hasn't made a decision, because likely they probably put 10 titles in front of him and said, which one do you want, or which 6 do you want? Because there was a point where Bendis had 8 different monthly books coming out at Marvel and Marvel's imprints for doing Powers. I mean, the dude is a super prolific writer. He can cover 6 titles a month easy. So they could give him an entire week. Like, he could write the Bat family of books if that's what he wanted to do. He could pick up every Bat title and start writing all of them, because that's how much Bendis writes.
It'll be interesting to see how it shapes up. But hey, look at that. I think we made it through all the news.
We did it, guys.
We did it.
Yay.
We're free from the news. So if you have seen this show before, you know what we're coming into next is a little bit called What I'm Into, which are a chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and nerdy stuff we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, we can get you interested in it too. But before we do that, I did forget one thing as I saw Willie look at me. So, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I forgot that we are part of a network of shows over on the Gonna Geek Network. There's 20 plus different shows there that cover a variety of things, from television shows like Arrow to specific to geek culture, things like that. And each week we try to highlight one specific show to give you guys a little taste of it and say, hey, you guys should go check that out. So, Willie, what are we talking about this week?
This week I'm talking about Strange and Unusual. Friend of the Family, Season 3, Episode 7. Kinder Gaming tonight on the Friend of the Family. Alice Belford teaches us a lesson in adult professional behavior. Osmodius gets a new hobby, and Uncle Lawrence has to make a call. That's all you gave me for that, so back to you, Chris.
So for those that aren't familiar, Strange and Unusual is a storytelling podcast. There's a story that is unfolding. So this is the most recent episode of Season 3 of Friend of the Family. So go check out the back catalog. It's a very good podcast, very good story being told there. And hey, while you're there, go check out some of the other shows in the Gonna Geek Network. We're constantly adding new shows and looking for new shows. So head on over to GonnaGeekNetwork.com for all the details. And now we'll do the bit called what I'm into that I already described. Because, yeah, I'm good at running the show because we're way over on time today. So, Naki, what have you been getting into? I'll let you go first.
I had food poisoning all week.
Go team!
Yay.
Awesome. How's
Fucking-
your butthole?
Oh,
I don't want to answer that. I feel uncomfortable.
That needs to be Willie's new bump. How's your butthole?
So I spent a lot of this week sleeping. So there's that. Other than that, yesterday we went and walked a bunch of miles in the woods, and that was really awesome. And we googly-eyed a bunch of things because that's also awesome, and ate a bunch of food, and that was a mistake because I had not eaten in a week because I was throwing up profusely. So that was a mistake. But then we got back home and we were originally going to watch K-pop stuff because we're all into that sort of thing. But we wound up into a 90s sinkhole followed by a viewing of Riverdance, which we have not watched probably since 1999. So
It was a good day for you.
Michael Flatley's mullety hair was lovely. And it
Lord of the
flowed in-
Dance, give him his proper title.
No. There was Riverdance, and then it was Lord of the Dance. We watched Riverdance. We did not
No, I'm
watch
saying
Lord of
that's
the
his
Dance.
title, though, isn't it? He is the Lord of the Dance.
Oh, yes. He is the Lord of the Dance. And his puffy shirt and mullety hair flew wildly in the wind as he Irish step danced to glory.
If only if I can get my goatee to flow like that.
And it was great. And today is a whole lot of cleaning and doing laundry and being an adult. But I'll probably have Power Rangers on in the background because I'm also an adult.
nice.
That's what
There's nothing wrong with that. So, Naki, we're glad you're feeling better. At least you're getting into some more fun stuff now.
I lost 5 pounds. Yay.
I'm not sure we recommend that diet for losing weight, though. It sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, it's the worst diet. Don't do it.
So
you can
Naki,
say-
what is it you ate that gave you food poisoning so we know not to eat it?
So there is a grocery store in Chicagoland called Jewel. I know it's known as Kroger's elsewhere. I'm not sure what else it's known as, but
Oh, I shop at Kroger. I'm scared now.
so they do fried chicken tenders that you can pick up and go as like your dinners.
Uh-oh.
I ate that and immediately died. So
Naki, we had fried
Ghost
chicken
Naki.
from Kroger for dinner last night.
Are you serious?
well, you prepare your butthole. So
My butthole is scared.
Duh!
hey,
I
Chris.
mean-
Chris, how's your butthole? Oh yeah.
Here's the thing that's weird though. So boyfriend's parents brought it over on Saturday. It was fresh then, or so we thought. It was in the fridge. He ate it on Sunday and it was fine. I ate it on Monday. I heated it up in the oven. It was nice and hot. I ate it, and then approximately 2 hours later, I was in the bathroom and did not get better until Thursday evening.
Yeah.
So
If chicken goes bad, you're screwed.
it tasted fine. That's the thing that threw me through a loop. But it's the only thing I ate that day that wasn't, that was a leftover. So it's the only thing that I could think of.
Well, Naki, we're glad
Jewel
you're
Osco.
feeling better. Dodge the fried chicken for a bit.
Yeah, that makes me so sad because I fucking love fried chicken.
I do too. And I'm really scared that I'm going to want that fried chicken that's left over in the fridge for lunch today. I'm scared.
Don't
Just-
let this deter you. Still get some more from Kroger.
I mean, just throw
Don't
it
give in to
in.
the fear, Chris. Don't give in to the fear.
And then next week it'll
Just
be
throw it
me
in some
going,
hot oil.
I've had food poisoning for the week. I'm dying.
Hey, you'll
That's
lose
how you
5
let the
pounds.
chickens win.
All right, so I'll go next.
Poultry
with-
fear. It's poultry fear.
There you go. I'll go next. It's fake chicken news. What I've been getting into.
I wasn't gonna do that. I was gonna do that.
Stuff I've been getting into. I beat South Park: The Fractured Butthole this week. I figured we had to do that story next because of Naki.
You said you did that last week.
Did I? I couldn't remember if I beat it. I guess that was last week. I did go in there and collect some more of the extra stuff, so I did play more of South Park: The Fractured Butthole this week. Great game, and at the same time, then I downloaded their new mobile game, which is South Park Phone Destroyer. And
I saw that.
It's pretty funny. So if you have a newer
Okay.
phone, go check it out. I have not had to do any microtransactions yet to purchase anything in the game, but I'm early on and I've only played for like an hour. Surprisingly fun. Other stuff I've been getting into. I beat the story mode in Super Mario Odyssey. I still have 450 moons to collect because there's 800 plus in the game. I have like 350.
Holy moly.
It's not going to happen. I'm not collecting them all. Because
Sounds
what I
like
also
work.
did is on Tuesday, I went and picked up my Xbox One X. I know Willie's incredibly jealous because I have an Xbox One X.
Yay. Yay.
I hooked that up to the TV. I've been playing Wolfenstein, the new one on there, because it's one of the upgraded games. And holy shit, if you thought the violence was ridiculous in the first game, there's moments in this one where you're just like, holy shit, did he really just do that? It is very much over the top, but it's Wolfenstein. I've had fun with it. Also brought Madden back out because it's another one that was upscaled for 4K and given the HDR treatment. It looks gorgeous on the big screen now. As long as you don't look at the faces, because the faces are still a train wreck in Madden. But the gameplay, the field, and all of that is amazing looking. One other thing I did do is they were doing a promo when I went to GameStop to go pick up my Xbox, and I was trading in some old stuff I had sitting around. Like I had 3 Xbox 360 controllers I hadn't used in 2 years. I traded in, and with the promo they gave me, it was something like $50 a controller almost I got on trade-in, so that was cleaning some stuff out. I also had one of my Xbox One controllers that I hadn't touched in a year and a half that I traded in. They gave me $50 credit on that, and then they also gave me a discount when I bought my Xbox One X for the Xbox Pro controller. So I basically spent $55 to get one of the Pro controllers. It's normally $150. And while I would never pay $150 for it, for $50, the Pro controller is really freaking sweet. It feels good in the hands. That's the one that's got like the paddles on the bottom you can clip on and off for extra buttons. You can swap out the thumbsticks and the D-pad for other things. It's got a real nice hefty feel to it, and I kind of enjoy that controller, and I've been playing with it a lot lately. And Willie, you're giving me a strange look.
How much is it?
It's $150 normally.
We're talking about a controller.
A controller.
Just a regular controller. We're
Yes.
not talking about like that. What was that fucking mech controller for the original Xbox? Because I can't say Xbox One anymore because it's a stupid fucking name. Where you had to have like 200 button controller. That was $200.
The Steel
You remember
Battalion
that?
one.
Yeah,
Yes.
Steel Battalion. That made sense because it was for being $200 because it was a whole immersive thing.
It was a
This is just
console. I wanted that game just for that controller, just because it looks so fucking cool.
I know, but this controller is $50 less, and it's just a controller
Well,
that
it is
has a
retail.
few extra bells
So,
and whistles.
Willie, bear in mind, I did not pay $150 for it as part of the promo. It was down.
That's
for
not
much
what we're
cheaper.
talking about. I'm talking about they're just the regular cost of it.
So Willie, I have long said the same thing you're saying about that. Like $150 for a controller, that's some bullshit. I would never do that. And like I said, I would not have paid the $150 for it. But when I got it for basically $55, I was like, I can understand why some people do pay that for it because
The price of a regular controller.
yes. The Pro controller, the Elite controller, I guess it is. That's what it's called. It's one of the best feeling controllers I've played with. It's well done, and I liked it. And if you want to see it for yourself, I mean, you can always come to my house. You're welcome to play some Xbox up here. But I know that, like in GameStops and stuff now, they're trying to push the controller. They have, shut up, Willie. They have a demo unit that's sitting there, so you can actually pick up the controller and try it for yourself.
Wait, so you said it's the best feeling controller? What does it feel like,
Well,
Christopher?
it's got a good weight to it, for lack of a better term. and it's got grips on it so that you don't have to worry about if you're me, who when you get pissed, you kind of flail the controller in your hand and you don't want it to fly across the room and smash into your fireplace. Not that that's ever happened before. Things like that. It's got a good heft to it. And depending on the game, you can pop off the thumbsticks and put different sized ones on there. And there's an interesting app on the Xbox One that you can log into and change the sensitivity of your thumbsticks, change the sensitivity of the triggers and things like that. So it allows you to tweak
you can't be that's normal in every menu of most games nowadays.
No. It's not the you can do it. No. This is going in there and changing like the response curves and things like that for it. Go and look at some of the stuff. Like I said, I wouldn't pay $150 for it. For $55, basically, I'm sitting here going, "Oh hell yeah, I'm happy with this decision."
Sounds cool though. If it can do that much customization.
Yeah.
I have a controller I play games with.
What company makes it, Chris?
It's Microsoft.
It's an actual Microsoft one.
It's the Microsoft. It's their Elite controller. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not advocating spending $150 on it. I would never do that.
Oh, I know. I never thought you did. I mean, who the hell buys third-party controllers anymore?
If it's not me that's going to be using the controller, it's only for a guest that's over once in a while. Depending on the price of the third-party one, I might do it.
What? So, sorry, Daniel, who Bola123 has said his name is in the chat room, has said, did you see the people who made What We Do in the Shadows is making a spinoff called Weird Wolves?
Yeah. You know that?
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, they've been talking about that forever.
I didn't know that. Oh my god.
That's a good title. That's a good title.
Yeah, I love that
Damn
movie.
it, Willie.
So,
Willie, I'm not on top of everything. Fuck.
I know your head's been up your butthole.
Oh. So that's what I've been getting into. Willie, what have you been getting into?
Quickly, since we mentioned, I did hear bad news about What We Do in the Shadows. I heard they're trying to make an American version. I don't know why, because they speak English in the fucking. It makes no fucking sense. Whatever.
Merkin.
It's stupid stuff. What I've been getting to, well, you heard my story about the gay club. I was supposed to go on a date yesterday, but that got canceled, sadly.
No wonder your beard's looking so fine.
You mean sad? Oh yeah, fine. No, that's just from that guy stroking it all. It got all the tangles out. That manly grip.
Jesus.
No, okay. So Fortnite. I think I've told you about one of the tactics I like to use is what I like to call the bush tactics, where the bushes you can walk through, but you also crouch in them, and people can't see unless they run right on it. That's the tactic I like to use because I won a game without killing anybody, just by shooting off the platforms at the very end, and then they died from falling. But they had a new update with a new item. It's pretty much like a ghillie suit, but it's just a bush around your whole body. I was playing with my friend Miss Cassio, and I literally was the first game I got it. I put it on, and I couldn't stop laughing for 5 minutes. 5 straight minutes. I got it all recorded too. Might go up on YouTube.
It's got to go on the YouTube, man.
Cassie couldn't stop laughing because I was laughing. At one point, she said, "Yeah, I need you to stop because I'm hurting." I mean, it's not like that's the first time I heard that or anything.
All right. Can I quit now?
Sir Bachman, what have you been getting into? Please save us.
I've been drawing. I finished and packed Jason Webb's Kickstarter is about to go out. I believe it's my last international one. So I did his sketch and did a bonus sketch for his daughter. She liked a bunch of my drawings on Instagram. It was real cool. And then I finally got to read some of my Kickstarter stuff. So I've been catching up on comics and actually reading things, which is cool. I finally got a chance to read Morgan's Organs #2. I backed the first one and the second one on Kickstarter. It's a hilarious comic. It's basically like Inside Out, but a lot funnier. And instead of emotions, it's all the internal organs of a guy, like work in a little call center and control his body and stuff. So like the brain's fighting with the stomach, is fighting with the kidney and the heart, and like they're all characters that have different kind of set characteristics depending on which organ they are. Hilarious comic. And then Yeah, I'm currently backing 3 Kickstarters that are going till November 12th and then December 1st. So Tart number 6 is still looking. I think it's funded now. Tales of Mystery Volume 4 is funded, and Scolders is still going till December. And I think that one still needs a little help. Justin's still looking to reach his funding goal. So go check out Scolders. Other than that, I went to my buddy Colin, my ex podcasting co-host. My buddy Colin got married yesterday, so I went to a wedding at 5. And it was nice. They did like a super short ceremony. We went from the start of the whole thing to food on the table in under an hour. Like, it was impressive. And it looked really cool. Everything went off without a hitch. Nobody, at least by the time I left, no one had got drunk and fallen down. So everybody seemed to have a fun night. And my God, some of the best food I've had in ages. And they so over prepared the food. They had, by the time everybody had their plates filled and sat down at their table, I went up to get a drink again. And as I walked past the buffet, I could see that if they started serving then, they still had enough to reserve everybody. So way too much food. So Colin will probably have leftovers forever.
That doesn't sound like a problem at all.
No, not really, because it was fantastic food. And then after the wedding, after food, I took off and went to game night at my buddy's house. We played Cards Against Humanity with 2 of the new expansion packs. Or I guess there's one that's all geek stuff and another one that's all game stuff. But it was fun playing with my 2 best friends and their wives with new cards, because we got to the point where we'd played through the original one so many times it wasn't funny anymore. And some of the new cards we played last night, we had some hilarious combos. So it made that game fun again.
That's why Quiplash is so much better than Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah, well, we're not going to play Quiplash at a table with 5 of us sitting there in front of each other.
You could,
but
yeah, that's the idea.
cards are more fun.
No,
I don't know. So the ones we wrote up ourselves, my buddy bought an entire 200 stack of Cards Against Humanity cards that you write for yourself, and some of the new ones he came up with that we did last night were hilarious. So it was a fun night. Ended up, I didn't get home until after 2:30, which I think it's the latest I've stayed up being out actually socializing since I quit drinking. So it was kind of weird to be driving home sober at 2:30 in the morning. It's like, wow, I could get pulled over right now and have absolutely no worries. It's kind of nice.
all legal beagle.
That's what Uber's
Exactly.
for, man.
Are you trying to?
I don't think we have that here.
Okay.
This is the Boondocks. Actually, I think they tried that here and they shut them down because our taxi union got together and went apeshit.
They did what?
Shut them down.
No. So you're saying
They shut that shit down.
there you go.
Thank you, Negan. We appreciate it. So I
I
think
had to reach him.
I think that is going to wrap us up for this week. So, friendly reminder, we stream live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time over on Geeks.live. There's also a variety of other shows that do stream as part of the Gonna Geek Network over on Geeks.live. So, as I'm trying to remember the time slots today, I think in 15 minutes at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. 6 p.m. Eastern, we have the Starling Tribune recapping this latest episode of Arrow, which has Deathstroke back in it, so Chris is happy. And then at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight is Pop Xcast. And then again on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we have the official GonnaGeek.com show. So we got lots of entertainment coming your way over on Geeks.live within the next 24 hours. Well,
Sounds like a lot of
28.
SP.
A lot of SP
Yeah, it
and a
is
lot of Chris.
SP.
I'm in almost
40.
all those shows.
That's true.
Boom.
Chris and SP show.
We don't want us to have a show.
It's turned into the Chris and SP channel.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only on 3 shows. I had to cut back. I didn't have time.
Only.
Well, start doing.
You know
some
how
other
many shows I'm on? I'm on 1 show.
You can
great.
have some more if you want. We can come up with some
Yeah.
more shows for you.
I'm
Yeah,
on the
cut it-
best show.
Cutting down to 1 has made things so much easier.
Yeah, there's a small part of me that almost hopes Arrow gets canceled after this season.
Hey
I
now.
hope it does too.
Hey now.
I stopped watching that so long ago.
So before we get out of here, you
Sad.
guys have any final thoughts for us? Anything?
It's not about you.
I hope no more of the people whose work I really love turn out to be dirtbags.
Yeah.
In your own head, it's always about you.
Okay. Then.
That's
But
That's kind of human nature.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it.
So, guys, that is going to wrap us up for this week, and thank you for sticking with us for this extended sized episode. We did talk some serious stuff in between some funny stuff, but don't worry, we'll be back next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.